We are living in a whole different world than we were. IPAs definitely have taken over the world. We have IPAs, and on the other side, we have younger people not drinking bitter anymore.
What Belgian beers are you brewing right now?
Belgian. I only brew American beer because I brew in the US.
Which Belgian style beer do you brew? Are you brewing right now that you kind of like?
I hate styles.
So why do you hate styles?
Because it's a curtailing of an artist's creativity.
Thank you so much for watching. Your views and support make these conversations entirely possible. Now, hitting that subscribe button is also transformative to the channel, but oddly, 73% of you have not done so yet. So if you like what you see, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons to fuel our growth, our clout, and our ability to attract even more awesome guests. Thank you and cheers.
Well, I am in Denver, Colorado, and have been judging all day for Phase 3, the first day of the GABF judging for the final round. And Peter, you were there judging. We didn't get to judge together, unfortunately.
No, there's many tables still, huh?
Yes, there are. Gosh, well, maybe 25 tables and 6 judges each.
Uh-huh.
Wow, over 100 judges. And some of the best in the world.
Oh, the best word here already. We're just filling material.
Well, did you judge a beer you enjoyed?
The bread beer, there was the one we all were agreeing on was really nice.
Yeah.
Could be a medal winner. Before that we had, more subtle beers. American Red? No, Amber Reds was actually subtle but good.
Okay,
So
that's
not a beer
good one.
that I would go to right away, but it was kind of fun to taste and judge. So,
Well, GB, this is my first time actually attending the festivities, so I'm looking forward to that. You got any tips for a newbie GABF?
stay focused.
Stay focused.
There's too much beer. So, depending on what you want to try, there's just too much. So, we're going to be judging still that last day on Thursday. Eh?
Yeah.
Depending on the flights we get. Last year, I just went for ABGB industry pills. I was so done with beer. I just said, if I go to ABGB from Austin, I'm gonna get a good pills there.
Okay.
And so I just stood next to the tap, and that was my. Didn't need anything more.
I'm going to go to Paired, the VIP Paired experience. I've never been to that. That sounds fun.
Who's doing that, Julia?
Well, I don't. She's involved. I don't know that she's coordinating, but they're supposed to have some really great chefs preparing really good food and pairing it up with beers. So
Nice.
I think that will be fun.
Yeah, I'm only gonna be here on Thursday night, and so I go a bit to the festivities, and sometimes I end up somewhere else.
Well, I had an interesting interview with Jeff Liebisch, and then a follow-up email conversation with Christian Holbrook, and both of them were talking about the trends of, I guess, the demise of Belgian beers at New Belgium specifically. But certainly it's an industry trend we all see. I really like Belgian beers, and you, of course, that's your favorite. So where do you think Belgian beers is going? Is this just a trend and it'll come on back, or what do you think it's going to take to intrigue the palates of everybody with Belgian beers again?
That's a tough question for me. Where should I start? There's a few angles that I would like to approach on it. One, I agree. We are living in a whole different world than we were. No, I don't have to go that far back. But Belgian beers have always been on the margin. They not really have been very popular, I would say. There have been always players enough, and every brewery used to have or was required to have something with a Belgian name, and that has faded. IPAs definitely have taken over the world. IPAs have taken over the world of the bigger brewers, I would say, the bigger craft brewers in the US. I am just a taproom brewer right now, so for me, life is good. I can do whatever I want. But what I see is still that the estery profile of Belgian beers is something that doesn't really go very well with Belgian and American palate. It,
Any estery characteristics in particular? I mean,
banana,
I love the triples.
banana, Coors Banquet is still the banana beer as
Yep.
such, and doesn't sell that much neither. But okay, it's something that is still going. But I think the banana and the sweetness related to the isoamyl acetate is something that is hard for people to deal with in the US in general. We also have another undercurrent right now of younger people. We have IPAs, and on the other side, we have younger people not drinking bitter anymore. And so
Yeah.
I'm really afraid for breweries like New Belgium, who are currently a one horse bet
Yeah.
with their voodoo IPAs, high alcohols, and we see an undercurrent of young people moving away from and going into seltzers or cocktails that in my eyes, cocktails is maybe a bit more delicate or phrasing it as such, but seltzers is the definition of a seltzer is not bitter. It's sweet and fruity.
I never thought of that.
For me, that's like I don't drink enough of them to really
Yeah.
know. But during volleyball in New Belgium now, I see all those things popping up. I'm like, what is this? What are you guys doing here? And they are making or contract making some of those things now also, and it's a huge undercurrent.
You consider a seltzer beer?
No,
Yeah.
no, but hey, it's non-beer. I thought some Belgian beers were going to be able to handle that because sweet and to a lesser extent fruity in what we see coming in the US here, but it hasn't been a direction that has been played upon. Future-wise, I'm struggling with the US right now.
Well, what are you doing at your brewery and your tap room?
Oh, I'm just having fun. I'm small, you know.
Well, you
I
are,
s-
but what's on your tap list?
Whatever we make.
But you have to make what people are buying.
No, I don't.
No, you.
No, I'm so small, and we only have beers on tap, and people come in and they do a taster flight, and then they pick from that taster flight what they drink. And so within a taster flight, we give them enough options in enough different directions that they can choose. But I don't sell any volume. I'm just an anomaly, and I'm happy with doing that. So, but where it's gonna go is more. Hey, maybe my public is also older, and we're kind of losing the enthusiasm for beer in general because
Yeah.
we're not feeding young people with beers that they like or liquids, alcoholic liquids that they like, where IPAs are selling and the public is aging, and so aging is way younger than us.
Oh,
But
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
they're aging anyway. They drink less, they get babies, and they get a bit out of rotation. And I don't see that enthusiasm anymore in the US. That's a big statement, but I'm traveling a lot right now. I'm a lot in young beer countries, and I see the enthusiasm there. I see the passion,
Okay.
and I look around here and I don't see the enthusiasm and the passion.
Oh, wow.
And it's a big statement. And if the people that are creating the segment don't show the passion anymore, then they're not going to convey passion. And so for me, it's like a dead end.
Yeah.
Where's the US? It will come from somewhere again. I don't know exactly where, but passion will get an influx from some angle again, and we're gonna get stuck for a while with cocktails and canned cocktails and seltzers and they're gonna get boring, you know. And I don't know where it's gonna move to. positive on that, but we need to get that passion again.
Well, are the NA beers going to fill any of those voids? I mean, those are really popular in Europe, more so than the U.S.
Yeah, in the U.S., we see Germany and Spain as kind of the leading countries on NA, pushing it to 0.0, where for Germany the law, Spain is 1% the law itself, but Germany is 0.5, like in the U.S. But we see really going to 0.0. I think there's definitely a lot of room. I heard a number this morning that it's around 0.6 of the market, and that probably can be 5-fold, 10-fold still in the US. But the US has always been low, the traction has been low on it. I don't see it again in young people. Maybe I'm not looking well enough, but they stay away, they go to mocktails.
Yeah.
And again, who are non-bitter. Except for the bitters, but still.
Well, going back to Belgian beers, aren't there plenty of Belgian beers that are non-bitter?
So there's maybe opportunity there.
Yeah.
And there's actually plenty of Belgian beers that are sweet.
Right.
Even without the fruity notes, we have some sweeter introduction. There could be an opportunity in there, but we need to show it with enthusiasm.
What would that style be, do you think? What would be a good Belgian style that would maybe resonate with the young people?
I think if you, it's funny to say, but the amber ales.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say
the
that.
ambers were kind of on the sweeter side. The blondes can be on the sweeter side. I think some of the doubles, the triple, some of the triples or the width that we have within triples, because there's also sweetness coming from the alcohol, are having opportunity. We also have dry and bitter triples like Westmalle. But there's a range, if you look at Triple Carmelite, who is more a sweet example. That was really a balanced beer, but it's promoted by the wrong people to the wrong public, I think, right now.
Well, we were dancing around this question before we got here and sat down, and I've been trying to corner you for a while to hear your thoughts on New Belgium reformulating or remastering, as Jim Cook likes to call it, for his Samuel Adams. He has remastered it. I think they call it reformulate at New Belgium. And I talked to Jeff Liebisch, who you know quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I can paraphrase it, Jeff was supportive that Lions was trying to do everything they could to preserve a beer that was not selling well currently.
Mm-hmm.
So they reformulated, which we'll all know whether it's the new Coke or not.
Yeah.
But it's a fairly drastic change. I take it you've tried it.
I tried it, yeah,
Yep.
and I try always everything,
Yeah.
I have my opinion on
And what is it?
after trying. It's not a beer for me. I think the bitterness level and the astringency of it is a mishit. It's in my eyes doesn't go to the younger public. A company like New Belgium will have done their market research on it, but market research is always 50-50, People like it and they hate it, A brewery like New Belgium is also looking at other markets, and one of our previous salespeople in New Belgium became the marketing director of Firestone Walker. And the first time I talked with him about the new Fat Eye, he's like, "Oh, we have the 805 effect." The 805 from Firestone Walker is basically, it's a relatively bland beer that is relatively easy to approach. It's not very bitter. And it became something. If you look at numbers, and that's what larger breweries do, well, they see an 805 effect. What is Firestone Walker nowadays? Beyond 805.
Yeah, we can't really get that in the Carolinas, so I don't get it very often.
This brewery created this beer relatively early, but they have become the 805 brewery. And so He mentioned another example, and I forgot the example. It was somewhere more east, and I wasn't very familiar to it. But they're looking at numbers, and they change their trends of the beers based on the numbers. Numbers are lagging indicators.
Yeah.
And because you only see numbers when there is a style created around it, and that people start reporting IRI and blah, blah, blah around that style. But you're never going to see what is really underneath that skin that hasn't had a style yet. And so, New Belgium had to revamp Fat Tire because the sales were lagging and the focus of the company was lagging.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Or shifting to...
not abnormal. They do what they have to do, but I don't think it's our numbers will prove us right or wrong. We don't have to look in a glass ball around that. But I don't think they hit on something. They just wanted to try to revive it. What was Jim Cook's thing?
He called it remastering it. He said
trying to remaster it.
He said it was like a record, an old 60s or 70s album that you remastering, you get the pops and the ticks and brighten it up.
So now the Doors people that have a remastered album are going to buy a redub.
That's right.
But you're not going to have new entries.
That's right. But it's I would say it's more than remastered. They didn't just tweak that a little bit.
I haven't had the new Sam Adams.
Oh, I haven't had the new Sam Adams. I was speaking of the New Belgium. I mean, I
was shocked on how willing New Belgium was going to go far away from what Fat Tire was.
Yeah.
Chapeau for that. Taking your former biggest brand into a whole different direction, or being willing to do that, or they're desperate, or they're not desperate. They're doing great with their Voodoo series right now. And so they had the opportunity to do something with that.
They could play with it. They can always bring it back.
Yeah.
They can say we were wrong.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole new marketing campaign.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit too late for Fat Tire. It faded and it's gone in my eyes. Will it revive under a new brand with the same name? Well, that's not up to us.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but that's a personal flavor, so it's easy enough.
Well, what is your favorite right now? Do you have a New Belgium?
New Belgium?
Yeah.
We probably drink Juicy Haze the most right now. The triple has been revamped and is delicious.
Oh, I hadn't had the new triple.
Triple, if you have the chance here while you're in town, the triple is actually very good right now. And they have a honey version also, but go for the regular triple. And 1554 has also been revamped. It's a good beer still. And I always try the new ones because we live just behind the breweries and they always have new ones. So they always have the bangers, we call it, since a long time. So I always go through that one, and sometimes there's something delicious there. I'm like, whoa, where did that come off? And they're playing on that one. They let different people brew something, whatever they like. And so they play off it, and so they get something interesting in the tap room, something interesting for the customer, and they get a little bit of a market screening, but it's a biased market screening.
Well, what Belgian beers are you brewing right now?
Belgian? I only brew American beer because I brew in the US.
Okay, semantics. Which Belgian style beer do you brew? Are you brewing right now that you kind of like?
I hate styles.
So why do you hate styles?
Because it's a curtailing of an artist's creativity.
But that's not unusual for Belgians to look at it in that perspective, right? That's very common.
Yeah, and so it goes by beer. If I just came back from Argentina, the beers I brought back were actually, there were some Belgian claims in there. Oud-Bruins, that is actually, there were quite a bit of it. The sours were excellent.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah. We brought some other things that we wouldn't have brought back. Barrel-aged strong ales. I've never been, or old ale. We brought even an old ale. Oxidized beer. Never been a fan for. Now that I'm a bit oxidized, maybe I start to be a fan of it. But it was a barrel-aged, and the rounding of the barrel on extreme beer like this was actually very good. We brought some Pilsners back here
Yep.
from Argentina. It's
Wow.
crazy. But we also see the passion of the people behind it, and it's the people we know. And to me, a lot of the beers that I'm drinking is going to be because the people behind it. And you have a great relation. You love the people, and the beer is so much better, you know. So for us, it's going to be fun to crack a Laurus from La Plata because we went to the 10th anniversary of the brewery. I've had so much fun, and we know Nacho there, and
Yeah.
you know,
It's that.
the enthusiasm of the people is really what carries the beer. As brewers, we're tainted because we see the people behind it also.
Well, but I mean, it's
So I
like
didn't
Ken
answer your
Grossman.
question.
No, but it's
Got
like
ya.
Ken Grossman in Sierra Nevada. I mean,
If you have a person like Ken Grossman,
But
this
I
is
mean-
a person that people appreciate,
right,
in this
right.
industry.
I hate to call him the Colonel Sanders, but
He's not he's such a great person for this industry to have.
he really is. He really is.
And those are people that if you see them, if you see their beer, then you see it's
And it always is first rate. And of course, he doesn't brew any Belgian styles.
no.
And matter of fact, he's changing because they had to drop their stout. They don't have the stout anymore in their lineup. And they dropped a couple of others. So, you know, that was a big deal, probably just as big a deal as it was to see Fat Tire change.
It's funny, the undercurrent, it's not a big current that we see nowadays is the lagers, the craft lagers who are so delicious. That's like a full turn, you know. We went against lagers, American lagers, of course, but we came completely back. It's not big. If you look at the big breweries, it's not a big sellers. But if you look at tap rooms, Purpose has a lager,
Okay.
or floof with French hops, very spicy.
yeah.
And we're proud about making it.
And does it sell pretty good?
It sells pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
And but yeah, when it's selling good for a brewery like Purpose, you know.
Well, but I've been, and don't talk, I mean, I've been to your brewery and I went to your, what was it? It was a tasting night. What did we do? We went in there and we went in your barrel room and we blended
Yeah.
some and
Yeah, we do it's basically bring in people, talk about the philosophy of
Yeah.
Purpose specifically, taste barrels to decide which barrel we're going to serve the next week. And so that's always a fun setting.
It
People
is.
are involved
It
in
is.
decision making, and you also get, as a brewer, pretty good feedback
Yeah.
from a wider public on what sour they or what direction in the sour they like. But again, I'm a peanut, so
But you took very careful notes. I was so impressed on how attentive you were to us all in the room.
yeah, because I don't have a taste panel anymore, so I use my public as a taste panel.
Okay.
They're not a chain taste panel, but they talk about love and hate, and
Yeah.
love and hate is very translatable.
So if somebody is in the Fort Collins, isn't that where it is? If they're in the Fort Collins area, look up Purpose Brewery. And Peter, tell them a little bit about it, where they can find it.
Purpose Brewery, we're the smallest brewery in town in Fort Collins. Fort Collins is, first of all, a great beer city in my eyes. It's a small city, but we have 26 breweries, and we have a bit of all kinds of colors of breweries in there, who makes it really fun for us as a brewer and for our public. Our niche is to come up with always something new. We still, to this day, often don't name the style. We just use flavor descriptors. And so people are coming in. It's a little bit hard, but you start to taste around beers and you're like, wow, I really like this. Okay, why do you like it? And people are sometimes a hard time to frame it. I was gonna say we don't offer too much IPAs, but IPAs has become a stop word. People go into breweries and they don't know what to ask, and they ask an IPA, and so they don't get exposure to new things. Creating exposure to new things makes people mind explode. If you go to a restaurant, except if it's a McDonald's, you're not gonna ask for a hamburger. You're gonna probably look at the menu and try to pick something that looks intriguing or that has descriptors that fit with things you like. And so you're going to go for that. You're going to be willing to expose yourself way more in flavor. And that's exactly what I want to create in a brewery. Don't put IPA on the board so that people, oh, they do have an IPA, I'm just going to ask an IPA because I don't know anything else of those things. And so we need to get people beyond hamburgers again, and hamburgers has become IPA. So
It has. Well, I look forward to judging with you 2 more days.
okay.
And I'm afraid I'm not going to get by the brewery this week. I would love to, but for everybody else, you really need to swing by there. It's a fun trip, a neat place to go, and Peter might even be there. So that's the best part.
Yeah.
Well, Peter, thank you. Cheers. I appreciate it, and look forward to judging with you the rest of the week.
I'm happy to avoid your questions again.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, I want to know what you think about Peter's focus on creativity versus the adherence to beer styles. And if you found value in this video, please smash that like button. It really supports us in creating more content like this. And check out these videos on the screen. They've been carefully selected just for you, and they're filled with even more brewing insights and tips. Thank you, and cheers.